Manqoba Mchunu has been attending that conference in Nasrec and joins me now. Very good evening to Manqoba. We see that there is a new top six. We see that there's gender parity. What else has happened at that EFF conference?
Well, certainly, Nzinga, no surprises there on the leadership that was expected. Of course, there were speculation months before this, as early as October, that no, this was the slate that was ultimately going to be chosen here as the leadership of the party. So certainly no surprises there. But, interestingly, the 50-50 policy coming into play, seeing that, some half of the elected leaders of the EFF have been women. We're talking of Veronica Mente, who's the new national chairperson, as well as Umphile Mawutwe, who is the Treasurer General, as well as the Deputy Secretary General, Bopi Mailula, who all have joined in the ranks of the top leadership of the party. And of course, the leader of the EFF, Julius Malema, retaining his position, as well as Floyd Shibambu. Right now, Nzinga, as I speak to you, the nominations for the Central Command team are currently underway. And this is the highest decision-making body structure in between congresses of the party, of course, that is being elected here. And, so far as we know, there has been nominations made of several of those who were also part of the previous leadership, including that of Gordhan, who was the former Secretary General, but we do understand that he has declined that nomination. We do know also that the name of Advocate Dalimpofu was not on that list of those Central Command team members that will be elected, 35 of them who will join the top six structure of the party to make this Central Command task or the highest decision body structure of the party. So to unpack more about what's happened here and what's going to happen going forward, I'm now joined by political analyst Levy Ndou. Good evening, Levy. Thanks for joining me. First, let's start with the issue of the leadership. No surprises there in the leadership top six that we saw?
Indeed. Good afternoon at home. Good afternoon to you, Manqoba. Indeed, there were no surprises. We actually knew a long time ago that the CIC, Julius Malema, and the Deputy Floyd Shibambu would actually come back. And it's not a surprise that the other four had actually fallen or they've not been re-elected again. It's actually the wish of the branches, it's the wish of the EFF. But there has been speculation long time ago, as you rightfully said. 2 months ago, before this conference, there were clear indications that the national chairperson is not coming back. And that would then will tell you that the lobbying for this conference had actually started long time ago. And they seem, what is good about the entire process is that they seem to have agreed long time ago before coming to conference. And that is why the process ran very smoothly yesterday for the nominations, and they indeed saved a lot of time.
There were fears, Levy, before this Congress that, Dalimpofu being ousted might sow some divisions within the party. And of course, his name not coming up in this list. Is there a possibility that we could see factions forming from this?
Well, I think it will actually depend on the kind of discipline, particularly from those who have not been re-elected again into the party. But if we specifically have to look at the national chairperson, Advocate Mpofu, he is one individual who has been quite very busy outside the activities of the EFF. And I think ordinary members might have looked and said, we've got a member that is supposed to be sitting in parliament. He was hardly in parliament, and he was actually seen doing a lot of legal matters outside parliament. And maybe that is one other reason that might have contributed in the general membership of the EFF to say, maybe we should allow him to go so that we must have someone who will be full-time within the office. And I'm happy to hear that the current national chairperson said she's going to be full-time in the office, and it means that she's going to direct all her energy into the position that she has been put into by the general membership of the EFF.
Are you surprised that his name did not come up at all in the list of the Central Command team?
I am not surprised at all, but I would have loved a situation where this top six of the EFF that has just finished working, I would have loved to see this top six continuing running the EFF. Look, Manqoba, the EFF is only 6 years old, but the EFF has seen tremendous growth. And I think credit should go to those that were in leadership positions. And if you see them just leaving and not being given certain responsibilities, for me, I feel that they still had a lot to offer, or maybe the EFF might still need their services and invite them to come and provide some advice and guidance.
What do you make of Gordhan not accepting that nomination for the Central Command team?
I thought, firstly, that the former SG was going to accept a nomination. Look, Gordhan is the person that has been running the organization on a day-to-day basis. When you talk about the growth of the organization, when you talk about the activities of the EFF, you talk about the Secretary General. And I thought that whilst he's there, he would then be able to provide a lot of guidance to the current leadership. But there are two things that comes to mind. Firstly would be that maybe he might be having other responsibilities, or is looking at other activities outside the EFF, or maybe he is not actually very happy that he has been replaced in his position, considering the fact that we're saying that the EFF has actually been doing well, and is part of those people that were responsible in building the EFF. So whilst he's not retained, he might feel that, no, I'm not wanted, then I just have to do away with all the activities of the EFF.
Prior to this conference, of course, the leader, Julius Malema, alluded to the fact, in fact, in an interview with SABC, to say that those who nominate people will not be persecuted, or they won't be punished for nominating people. But that's a different sense that we're getting this afternoon when he spoke, taking a veiled attack at Naledi Chirwa for nominating Mandisha Mashego as, the Secretary General last night. And the indication that he's giving is that she might even lose her parliamentary job. Do you think that he's changed his tune?
Well, I think it depends on the context. You see, when you're moving towards a conference, you would actually want to make sure that things are done in a manner that appeals to everybody that is saying, that is listening to what you're actually saying. But also at the same time, Julius Malema, as the leader of the party, he would also have his own preferences. He would also love to have a team that he knows that he'll be able to work with. And that is why you and I, when we started, we spoke about the slate, and which is what has been spoken about few months ago. And I think he was actually demonstrating his frustrations on what should have been agreed upon elsewhere. And then some other members are now seem to be actually diverting from what has been agreed upon earlier somewhere behind closed doors.
And of course, him saying that he's not a dictator. Interesting. He says, in fact, Nzinga, that he's a hard worker, and that's what landed him in this position. Of course, those were some of his utterances following his election as the president of the EFF. Thank you, Levy Ndou, for joining me. And it's back to you in studio, Nzinga.
Thanks so much, Manqoba.